If you've ever witnessed Sig Sauer somehow lose a court case while at the same time winning the same court case, and you arrived at the horrifying conclusion that the Sig P320 isn't going anywhere anytime soon, then go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. I am your host, The Average. Another day and another developing story on the Sig Sauer downfall. Video enjoyer that your mom says that we have at home. Thanks for watching. Guys, the purpose of today's video is we have the iPad of truth and an unloaded copy of my work service pistol, and we are going to be discussing both things with the iPad of truth and some developing stories. Real quick, if you want to support the Trench Grenade channel and the work I do here, simply hit the like button. That helps out more than you know. And make sure you're subscribed. The Patreon funding has decreased for some reason over the past few months, so I would encourage you guys to make sure you are supporting monetarily if you enjoy my work. Hit the like button and comment down below. Do you think the P320 is going anywhere anytime soon? I do not think so, but I'm going to outline why I don't think the Sig P320 or the M18 or M17 is actually going to be abandoned anytime soon for the United States Army or the United States Air Force. First and foremost, the first story we have to discuss today is Massachusetts. An off-duty officer in Massachusetts has taken Sig Sauer Inc. to court and has won a court case against Sig while also losing a court case. So, long story short, a plainclothes officer was carrying a Sig P320 pre-upgrade loaded in his waistband without a holster. So he had his service pistol chambered up and had no safety on the gun, a decision that his police department made. Apparently, his police department was offered this exact model with a safety, and they elected to not have the safety. So now you have a Massachusetts law enforcement officer walking around with a loaded P320 in his waistband pre-upgrade. Not a good look, right? Well, wouldn't you know it, the gun ends up going off, the weapon discharged without a trigger pull, confirmed via evidence and Sig's own documents that the gun could fire from a slight impact or jostling in this case. The court ruled in his favor, affirming that the weapon could discharge without a trigger pull. However, no financial compensation will be awarded due to shared negligence. Because this officer, in all of his wisdom, right? Obviously, we don't want anyone to get hurt, but he did get hurt. And what the court and the jury ruled is because he had this bad Larry chambered up with no safety activated on the gun, shoved into his waistband, that he was also negligent. So they found Sig Sauer and the design and the everything previously discussed about the drop safety issues, the sights coming off, the guns exploding, the guns going off without a trigger pull. They found all those things to be true, and that Sig Sauer was also negligent, but due to the officer carrying the gun in a, their words, poor weapons handling that was against common sense and best practices. I'm going to read that part again. No financial compensation was awarded to the officer due to shared negligence, is what the jury found. The officer was ruled partially responsible for carrying a striker-fired pistol without a safety, without a trigger safety, without a holster, in a waistband that was against the department's best practices, standard operating procedures, and common sense. So, the iPad of truth can tell no lies, and the officer has won the case, but also lost the case because he was being a little bit of an idiot, right? Because I don't know of anybody that would chamber this bad Larry up, okay? Obviously, this gun's unloaded. Chamber this bad Larry up, put it in a waistband at all, and much less not have a manual safety or a trigger guard of some sort, right? Whether it be a Kydex trigger guard and a safety engaged. He had none of these things, and so what this led to is him not getting a bunch of money for the bullet wound that is in his lower extremities. So, long story short, Sig Sauer lost, but also they won because this looks bad. Why does this look bad? It makes everyone watching this video look a little bit worse because anytime Sig Sauer can say, see, we didn't have to pay any money because we weren't 100% at fault, even though we were found to be negligent. We admitted to being negligent in the court case, but you couldn't necessarily nail us to the wall. So in a way, Sig Sauer kind of wins. Even though they lost, they won because they didn't have to pay any financial compensation. Thus, the pistol continues to be utilized in the United States Army and the United States Air Force. So that will transition us to a rumor with an ongoing investigation. Now, I do have to preface this. I don't represent anybody but myself, Trench Grenade. I don't represent the Department of the Army, the Department of Defense, or obviously the United States Air Force in any way. I am just a dude with the iPad of truth talking to you about rumors at this point. Here are the rumors. And I want to say rest in peace to this airman. And this is not to disparage him in any way. This is just what is being reported by individuals close to this case. The case started off as a regular investigation with a regular investigating officer on a serious incident report. What has occurred over the past couple days is that has been transitioned from a regular investigating officer to an investigating officer with a criminal case. So the Air Force's version of CID is now investigating this due to criminal charges. That's a big deal. I'm going to read the reports, okay? Now, again, keep in mind, this is not to disparage the service member in any way. And obviously, anytime there's a loss of life, that is what is at the forefront, but I'm going to report the news as I'm receiving it and the rumors that are being speculated on why this has gone from I guess, a normal investigation to a criminal investigation. Ongoing unconfirmed reports of the United States Air Force airmen killed by a holstered Sig M18 discharging without trigger input. Rumors of criminal negligence investigations suggesting someone may have improperly handled the pistol or that Sig's tolerances could be to blame. However, no publicly released court-martial or Department of Defense safety report has proven criminal wrongdoing or mechanical fault yet. There's rumors about the gun discharging through a bathroom stall. There's rumors about a potential scuffle. There's rumors about other criminal, exactly what I said, rumors, but other criminal wrongdoing that may have been taking place around the time of this incident. None of those things are proven. All of those things are rumors and allegations at this point, and I don't want to continue that narrative until we get more information. I just want to bring this update to your, I guess, awareness, right? And many elements in the Air Force have gone back to using the Sig M18. This is an M17, but have gone back to using the M18s based on unit to unit, right? These are just reports that I'm getting. Now, even though there has been over 11 court cases that have been won against Sig Sauer and numerous, I believe over 107 that are ongoing against Sig Sauer. We know of all the money that has been paid out for people that have been hurt by the Sig P320 series of weapons. We know about the 4 million handguns in circulation and all of the things. But what the bottom line is, military contracts are a different breed and a different beast than all of these civilian ranges and all of these civilian police departments who can just change their contract on a 5-year basis or a 2-year basis and can change from the Sig P320 back to Glock or with another handgun. It's a lot easier for these smaller agencies, even large ones like Chicago Police Department, to switch from the Sig P320 to a Glock service pistol. The reason why is the military constraints are much larger and much broader. So that is why I am of the opinion that the P320 is going nowhere as of right now. Keep in mind, due to the MHS trials, we're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars and over 400,000 units. We're talking about a massive contract here. So for them to turn this ship around, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take bureaucracy. It's going to take politics. It's going to take a full recall, contract cancellation. It would require a high-profile catastrophic event, which we thought we already had, but it may require another one, unfortunately. It would require a clear court ruling pinning the liability on Sig. So while we have this in a number of cases of officers being injured, civilians being injured, an airman being killed but not proven in court yet, while we have, I guess, liability being pinned on Sig, we don't have the massive smoking gun yet. Now, if this airman is found to have been killed due to Sig's negligence alone, then that is exactly what we would need to get rid of the Sig P320, M17, and M18. Or a congressional act or with DOD oversight is exactly what would be required to finally move away from Sig Sauer, okay? So the key takeaway here, really from my thought, is without a court-mandated evidence or political pressure, the military won't backtrack due to the massive scale of the MHS program. I don't think the Department of Defense with the United States Air Force, Marine Corps, everybody at this point, Navy, with everyone full hook, line, and sinker into the Sig P320 family of weapons, it's going to take a massive overhaul. It's going to take Congress. It's going to take you calling your congressman. It's going to take public outcry, as we've already seen. It's going to take a lot to get this thing overturned. And with these half victories in court, with this law enforcement officer being negligent, it just doesn't look good due to his own negligence. It doesn't help the case very much, right? Not as much as if he had it in a proper holster and it went off. Does that make sense? So, the ugly truth, it'll take a smoking gun, no pun intended, unless a federal court conclusively rules that the Sig P320 is inherently defective or a major death or disaster leads to policy change, the platform will persist. Sig is too entrenched in current contracts with the XM250, the M7, service rifle, the M17. This is a copy of my actual work gun, the M17 service pistol. It's going to take a massive court victory to get rid of it for the United States Department of Defense to backtrack. Financial penalties may not outweigh the inertia of military supply chains. The Sig P320 is here to stay unless something damning, public, and indisputable hits the headlines. Now, obviously, okay, with this, and I'll put the iPad of truth away here, obviously, with this recent court case against this airman, or with this airman being horrifically killed by a Sig M18, obviously with all that considered, if the findings of the investigation come back to be that he was at no fault as was initially reported and that he, if he were to be found, I guess, innocent and, did exactly nothing wrong as was initially reported, and the gun did in fact go off in his Safariland standard issue holster, just like this one right here. This gun is now chambered up because I have to go train with it because I am going to a course soon and I have been training a lot with it. Unfortunately, that is just the nature and the reality that a lot of us live in right now in the United States Army and the Department of Defense worldwide or nationwide. Is if it's your issued pistol and you want to win competitions, you want to be proficient at work, well, unfortunately, you have to train with it. That's just how it works, which could allegedly open you up to negligence, okay? That's just some of the facts. But anyway, if this airman case comes back to be that he was completely innocent as initially reported and there was no wrongdoing at any port, I think that could be the smoking gun to finally get rid of the Sig P320. But if it's not, I think we're going to need one more major downfall event to cause the M18 and M17 and Sig P320 to be abandoned by the United States Department of Defense and nationwide. So hopefully it occurs, but until we have that finalized evidence, I don't think it's going anywhere. But you guys let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on all of the things that are going on with the Sig M17, the Sig P320, and all of the other models that I've previously listed. Thanks for being here, guys, and until next time, this is going to be Trench Grenade, your average. Another day of carrying an M17 video enjoyer like your mom says that we have at home. Thanks for watching. Cheers.